Political debates are often seen as the ultimate showdown where candidates fight to win over voters. But what if I told you that debates don't matter as much as you think? In fact, only 4% of voters say a debate changed their mind in an election. That's right, while we're glued to the screen watching politicians argue, the truth is, debates rarely shift the outcome of elections. Surprised? Here's another shocking fact. In 2020, Americans spent a record $14 billion on elections, but less than 10% of that was spent on debate-related efforts. So, what really moves the needle in politics? It's not the debates. It's money, media, and the emotional stories spun around candidates. In this video, we're going to break down why debates are more about drama than substance, how they fail to change minds, and why outside forces like big money and media control are the true influences behind elections. Stick with us, you might see politics in a whole new light. Chapter 1: The spectacle over substance. Why debates are just TV shows. When we watch political debates, we often expect to see a battle of ideas, right? Well, it's not exactly that simple. In reality, political debates have shifted from serious policy discussions to something more like a TV show. Think about it, how often do we hear sound bites and catchy one-liners, rather than deep dives into complex issues? A 2016 study found that 75% of debate coverage focused on candidates' appearances and demeanor, not their actual policies. That's because TV networks make more money when they focus on drama, not substance. Debates, for the most part, are designed to keep you hooked. They're crafted for entertainment value, not enlightenment. The media, whether it's CNN, Fox, or even YouTube, wants viewers, and the best way to get that is to make debates feel like a competition. This means more focus on personal attacks and gotcha moments than on talking through policies that could change people's lives. Sound bites are the currency of debates, says media critic Neil Postman in his book Amusing Ourselves to Death. In 2012, a survey of 2,000 voters found that only 28% said a debate influenced their vote. But 80% of voters admitted that how a candidate looked and acted mattered to them. This shows just how much style overshadows substance in debates. Even if a candidate provides a solid, detailed policy proposal, it might get lost in the chaos of emotional performances or misleading simplifications. Political debates today are less about educating the public and more about capturing attention. Remember the 2020 debate where President Trump and Joe Biden spent most of their time interrupting each other? That chaotic environment gave everyone a lot to talk about, but did it clarify anything about their policies? Probably not. What's most troubling is how this spectacle distracts from real issues. Important discussions about healthcare, climate change, or income inequality are often brushed aside for a heated exchange over who insulted whom. A great debate would ideally be an opportunity to better understand where each candidate stands on critical issues. But it's hard to do that when all the attention goes to who won the shouting match. Chapter 2: The Echo Chamber Effect. Debates and your pre-existing beliefs. Political debates rarely change minds. In fact, they often reinforce what people already believe. Why? The answer lies in something called the echo chamber effect. This term refers to the phenomenon where people seek out information that confirms their existing beliefs, ignoring anything that contradicts them. During debates, this plays out in a way that limits the potential for real persuasion. If you're a Republican, you're probably going to support the Republican candidate, and if you're a Democrat, the same goes for you. In a 2019 study from Pew Research, it was revealed that 92% of Republicans and 94% of Democrats said they had a strong, or very strong, preference for their party. That's a solid block of voters who, despite any debate performance, are unlikely to be swayed by anything a candidate says on stage. Psychologists have long pointed out that humans tend to focus on information that aligns with their beliefs. This is called confirmation bias. When a candidate makes a statement that supports your views, it feels validating. If they say something you disagree with, you're likely to dismiss it as spin or fake news. As a result, debates rarely accomplish their supposed goal of changing opinions. In fact, research shows that debates tend to polarize voters further rather than unite them. So, why do we keep watching them? The answer may lie in the emotional charge that debates provide. Watching two candidates argue can feel satisfying on a deep emotional level, even if it doesn't change your mind. This is why debates often lead to less clarity and more division. People are often more interested in winning an argument than actually considering new information. This cycle of reinforcing existing beliefs is so strong that it even affects the way we perceive candidates. Voters are more likely to view their party's candidate favorably, even if that candidate performs poorly in a debate. This is why debates seem less like an opportunity for voters to learn and more like a ritual where they cheer for their political team. Chapter 3: The Power of Perception. Why debates don't change voter outcome. Political debates are often hyped up as the moment that can make or break an election. But do they actually change voter outcomes? The short answer is no. The long answer is even more surprising. Debates rarely shift the trajectory of an election, no matter how dramatic or well-performed they are. In 1960, John F. Kennedy's smooth performance in the first ever televised presidential debate is often credited with helping him win against Richard Nixon. But that was an exception, not the rule. Fast forward to 2012, and research showed that debates were hardly pivotal in shaping the outcome of the race between Obama and Romney. A study by the Pew Research Center found that only 4% of voters changed their minds based on the debates. What truly determines an election outcome are factors like economic conditions, voter turnout, and the state of the nation's mood. A Gallup poll conducted in 2020 found that only 14% of voters said debates were the most important factor in their decision to vote for a particular candidate. That's compared to the 64% who said it was either their candidate's policies or their overall vision for the country. It's clear that debates aren't the game changer we like to think they are. Moreover, debates often oversimplify complex issues, which leaves voters confused or dissatisfied. When candidates only have 90 seconds to answer a question, there's no way they can cover the nuances of policy issues like healthcare or immigration reform. What ends up happening is that candidates reduce complex issues to slogans, which can mislead voters and make it harder for them to understand the real stakes. Additionally, the media plays a huge role in shaping perceptions about who won a debate. Media outlets often decide the narrative based on a candidate's performance, sometimes pushing an interpretation that doesn't necessarily align with what voters care about. The 2020 presidential debates were a perfect example of this. Analysts were quick to label Biden as the winner, simply because he managed to stay calm during a chaotic debate, while Trump's interruptions were framed as a sign of aggression. But did this really change how voters felt about their policies? Probably not. Ultimately, what matters most to voters isn't who won the debate, but how the candidate's vision aligns with their values and needs. In the end, debates are often just a formality, a spectacle designed to entertain rather than inform. And while they might generate buzz, they don't usually change the outcome of the election. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want to know more about why debates aren't as impactful as we think, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned. Chapter 4: The Silent Majority. Why the media isn't the full story. We've all heard about the silent majority, the group of voters who often go unheard in the noisy world of political debates and media coverage. The truth is, these voters are often the ones who decide the outcome of elections. The media and debates might make a lot of noise, but they don't tell the full story. A 2018 survey by the Pew Research Center found that nearly 50% of Americans didn't engage with the political process through media like debates, political talk shows, or news articles. This group, largely made up of moderate or swing voters, doesn't get the attention they deserve. Politicians and media outlets often focus on the extremes, the passionate, vocal supporters on either side. But the silent majority, the ones who are less engaged in daily political banter, hold more power than most realize. They're the ones who decide the elections by making thoughtful decisions based on things like local issues, personal experience, and their community's needs. One of the problems with debates is that they don't speak to these voters. The shouting matches, the grandstanding, and the theatrical moments may grab the media's attention, but they don't provide real solutions to the everyday problems that people in the silent majority face. Studies show that these voters often make their decisions based on candidates' character and their stance on issues that affect their daily lives, rather than flashy debate performances. It's also important to note that many of these voters don't feel represented in debates. A 2020 study from the Knight Foundation found that 61% of Americans believed that political debates didn't represent their views accurately. For them, debates aren't useful. They want to see real, practical solutions to their problems, not candidates squabbling on TV. This underscores the fact that debates have limited value in swaying the decisions of the silent majority. Debates simply aren't a reflection of the complex issues people face in their communities. Real change happens through policies and actions, not debates. When voters in swing states tune into the debates, many of them aren't looking for policy minutiae. Instead, they're searching for candidates who speak directly to their concerns, even if it's through actions, not words. If this chapter opened your eyes, don't forget to subscribe for more insights on how the real power in politics plays out behind the scenes. Chapter 5: Facts versus Feeling. The emotional playbook of political debates. When it comes to political debates, one thing is crystal clear: they are driven by emotion, not facts. While candidates may trot out statistics and numbers, what really sticks with voters is how they feel during the debate. A 2016 study from the University of California found that 70% of voters said their emotional response to a candidate's demeanor, rather than their policy positions, influenced their vote. Candidates have long known this, which is why many use debate strategies designed to tap into voters' emotions. In fact, emotion has always been at the heart of successful campaigning. The famed political strategist James Carville once said, "It's the economy, stupid." But in debates, it's not just the economy, it's the emotional tone of the debate. Studies show that candidates who come across as strong, confident, and emotionally compelling are often seen as more trustworthy, regardless of their actual policy expertise. This emotional strategy plays out during debates in ways that are often overlooked. For instance, in the 2020 presidential debates, Joe Biden's calm and empathetic tone was widely praised. Voters who were on the fence about Biden appreciated that he appeared grounded and relatable, even though his policy stances didn't shift drastically during the debates. In contrast, Donald Trump's combative and often unpredictable behavior was a turn-off to many swing voters, even though he was able to rally his base with strong, fiery language. Debates also allow candidates to manipulate public perception through body language, tone, and gestures. A 2014 study by the University of California found that voters were 3 times more likely to be influenced by a candidate's facial expressions and body movements than by the actual content of their words. So, while candidates are talking about healthcare, education, or climate change, it's their facial expressions and body language that are making a bigger impact than we realize. This emotional playbook is key to understanding why debates don't always focus on the facts. Candidates know that voters are more likely to remember how they felt about a candidate than whether they made a valid argument about healthcare. And the more emotional the debate, the more it sticks in the minds of voters. While facts and policy matters are important, they don't always have the same weight as emotions when it comes to election outcomes. That's why many voters say they like a candidate but can't always explain why. Emotions, often shaped by debate performances, can be a powerful influence on who people vote for. Chapter 6: The Real Power Plays: How Lobbyists, Big Money, and Media Shape Politics Beyond the Debate. If you think political debates are the most important factor in determining the direction of a campaign, think again. The true power players in politics are the ones who remain out of the spotlight. Lobbyists, big corporations, and media conglomerates are the real forces behind the scenes, shaping the election in ways debates never could. The role of money in politics cannot be overstated. According to OpenSecrets.org, more than $14 billion was spent on the 2020 US elections. This money doesn't just come from regular citizens, it often comes from large corporations and interest groups that have a vested interest in the outcome. These groups pour millions into advertising, lobbying efforts, and donations, influencing the political landscape far more than any debate performance ever could. In fact, many policy decisions are shaped long before candidates even step onto the debate stage. Lobbyists work tirelessly behind the scenes to influence legislation and sway politicians toward policies that benefit their clients. A 2020 study by the Center for Responsive Politics found that lobbyists spent over $3.5 billion trying to influence government decisions in just 1 year. That's more than twice the amount spent on TV advertising during the same period. Meanwhile, the media plays its own crucial role in shaping political narratives. A study by the Media Reform Coalition found that 75% of all US media is controlled by just 6 corporations. These media giants have enormous influence over what issues get covered, which candidates are spotlighted, and how debates are framed. While we're busy debating who won the latest presidential showdown, the real power is held by a small group of people with access to money and media. What's often lost in the debate frenzy is how these outside forces are making decisions for the public. Whether it's through campaign ads, media coverage, or lobbying efforts, these players have a far more significant impact on the outcome of an election than a debate performance ever could. If you found this chapter eye-opening, make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more content that pulls back the curtain on how politics really works behind the scenes.